Welcome to another episode of TeeVo The Beard.
I know you can't see it, but I'm TeeVo, and that's the beard.
This is almost like our first official episode now. Even though
Forget all the other ones.
Even though I think this is like the 14th one that we've done.
Probably.
Yeah. If you include all our little like 0.1, 0.2 episodes. But this is the one where we're actually going to get into the meat of the type of things we'll be talking about.
Like we said last two episodes, the purpose of why we started this.
Right, yeah. To let everybody know our opinions of superhero TV shows. Specifically today we'll be talking about S.H.I.E.L.D, of course.
Since that's the only one that aired.
Right. But before we do that, I'm going to start with a little icebreaker.
Alrighty.
And so me and my daughter this morning were watching Pokemon before I had to drop her off for school.
What era?
XY.
Okay, so the ones I do not watch, but nonetheless.
But it was on Netflix. So,
yes.
yeah, and she likes it. So.
Well, that's okay.
That's the main thing that matters there. But it got me thinking, my question for you this morning is, if you were only allowed to watch one movie franchise, and with TV you can still watch whatever you want,
right?
But one movie franchise, what would it be?
Now, how did this, first of all, how did this tie into Pokemon XY?
Well, because of the Pokemon franchise. I was just thinking about franchises in general, but I didn't want to limit it to TV because that would be cruel to say you can only watch one franchise on TV. Okay. But if you can only watch one movie franchise, with the caveat being that if you pick Marvel or DC, you have to pick like a sub-franchise in there. Like if you pick Marvel, you have to pick like either Captain America or Iron Man or something like that. My answer, which came very easy to me, which is why I picked it for the icebreaker, would be the Evil Dead franchise. Because you have the original 3 movies, you have the remake.
Right.
And I like it because even though they all fit under the genre, quote-unquote, horror, the first one's an actual horror movie, the second one's horror comedy, and the third one's a action-adventure movie. And then the remake is just, literally starting over. But they're all Sam Raimi, they're all that same, sort of feel to it. And that way, if I feel like, laughing, I'll pop in Evil Dead 2. If I feel like, just watching actual horror, part 1, I still have options within the franchise.
Let's see. Franchise.
Yeah, I thought it was a good one this morning.
Off the top of my head, I could live with Christopher Nolan's Batmans.
Okay.
That would be it.
Yeah.
Because if I had to choose a sub Marvel, it's going to rack my brain.
Yeah.
Knowing the others are there, but I can't watch it. With at least Christopher Nolan's Batman, it was 3 finite films.
Okay. Yeah, I can definitely. There's a beginning, middle, end. And,
There's no side missions. There's no side, other things to see in other movies. It's just these 3. Mm-hmm. Will I miss the Marvel universe? Oh yeah, but if I pick the Avengers films, I'm going to know. Well, there's other. What about those moments I can't see? Or if I pick Iron Man, it's like, there's a lot I haven't seen or can't see again. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I definitely understand that.
I would like to, if I can't see all of it, I would like to, chop it off.
Yeah. See, I thought you was going to pick Marvel. That's why I put that caveat in there. But I like the Batman one because with that one you also have it's 3 movies that go together, but it also is 3 distinct things. You have your origin story, you have your good versus evil, and then you have your epic movie at the end there. So, depending on what mood you're in, you can... Because they can... Even though they work very well together as a trilogy, they can be watched separately.
Yes. And of course, they are finite.
They are finite, yeah.
So that would be my answer.
Okay.
All right, S.H.I.E.L.D time!
S.H.I.E.L.D time, yes.
So, for those who listen, which was... I saw the tally was up to 18.
Yeah.
We did our pre-episode. Now it's the real episode.
Right, and
Ghost Rider has come.
And you're listening to this hopefully before you watch episode 2.
Yes.
So this will kind of give you the recap of what happened last week.
Wow.
So yeah, we'll kind of very brief synopsis would be S.H.I.E.L.D. has kind of not really been disbanded because there is a new director and all that.
I actually the quite opposite. S.H.I.E.L.D. is now abandoned, not disbanded. Yeah. The 6 people, we originally followed since season 1 has been disbanded. 1 being dead.
Yeah.
Being bored.
Yeah. To quote the show, the band's been broken up.
Band's been broken up. but yeah, that's kind of funny. You said that. I was like, well, technically, it's kind of banded, not disbanded.
Yeah.
The team has been disbanded because S.H.I.E.L.D. is now reinstated. Coulson is no longer the director, because to the public knowledge, he is still a dead guy. So wouldn't look good for their public PR if if like, wait, a dead guy's running this organization? What kind of joke is this?
Yeah. Because the government's got some control over S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yes. Now. Which is, how I think it was run, but just,
before it went underground.
Yeah. Before the whole, Hydra thing.
Right.
Now they're definitely run by the government.
Yeah. Yeah. And one thing I want to go ahead and kind of touch on is we knew there was going to be a new director.
Yes, we knew there was a new director. We did not know about how it actually affected the team.
Right.
So that was a little...
and we still don't know who it is.
The director?
Right.
Yes.
We know the actor,
Jason O'Mara, who's a fantastic actor.
But like the entire first episode, they just keep referring to him as the director.
Yeah.
So there's no, Director Smith, director.
Luckily, the next episode is called Meet the New Boss.
Right.
So, we just got one more week. And really, where we're at, we have a few more days.
Right.
So, all that we answered. I hope that it's worth the reveal.
Right.
It's kind of like when I said, when they cast Mark Freeman in Civil War, they were mum about his role.
Yeah.
But if you've seen the movie, he doesn't have... I mean, it's a character that most people guessed anyway.
Right.
But I'm just like, why the secret?
Yeah.
So I hope this one's worth the secrecy.
Yeah, I hope so, yeah. And it's not just, something... Kind of like when they defeated Hydra, it was just kind of anticlimactic and just like...
Not that I don't think he'll do a good job, and they haven't planned out the role, but, I just hope the name's at least worth not knowing until this coming up Tuesday.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I would like it to be something that's familiar to comic book fans, So we open with Daisy Quake.
Yes, and her butt.
And her butts.
Yes.
Yeah, and...
Because it's 10 o'clock now.
Yes, it's 10 o'clock.
We can see her butt.
And they want to make sure you know it's 10 o'clock based on the...
blood in the butt.
The blood in the butt.
Because, she's suiting up to take down some bad guys.
Yeah, and it's the new Goth Quake.
Yes.
Is what this is. Because she's got the overly done black eyeliner and black makeup and all that.
Yes, but the hair... I wonder if it was a wig in that 6-month jump at the end of last season, but her hair is back to being short. Yeah. I think that's what threw me off. It was like the mesh sleeves, the eyeliner, and then the long hair. I was like, whoa, what is this? So at least maybe they're like, okay, maybe that was a little too much. No, okay, the eyeliner's staying, but everything else,
yeah. So yeah, she's suiting up, and we're not, when it first opens, we really don't know what she's going to do.
As the audience, you're like, a Ghost Rider?
Right.
Are you about to fight Ghost Rider now?
Right.
Are we about to even see Ghost Rider? Because I think we touched on it last episode, because last year they teased Lash. We didn't see, first we didn't expect to see Lash at all in the first episode, and then when we did, it was the end.
Right.
So, when they show the car full of criminals, but you heard the sound effects for Quake's powers. Take out the tires. You're like, okay, who's Quake's about to take him? Yeah. And then all of a sudden you see the car. You're like, whoa, are we really about to see Ghost Rider? And we do.
And we do, yeah.
And in all gloriousness, how they can make the sound of a man twirling his keys menacing. That was awesome.
That is, yeah.
I don't know who thought of that, whether it was the writers or the actor, but kudos to that. And the way they did the camera, because you didn't see his face, you just saw his hand, and his keys, and and then the sight of seeing the guy, no, please, no.
Yeah, because in the S.H.I.E.L.D. universe, Ghost Rider seems to already exist. He's already known
in some way. Yeah.
In some way, at least within LA. Yeah. Because there's graffiti done about him.
And to point out that part, I love just the casual drop where she's like, "Who is this?" And the guy's just like, Ghost Rider.
Yeah, like, that's how you introduce the name of the character right there.
Ghost Rider. Duh. And just the way he said it, it's just Ghost Rider.
Yeah. Have you not heard about him?
Yeah. For those who listened to the last episode, we kind of talked about the particular Ghost Rider they are doing.
Yes.
And while this episode did full justice to the character Ghost Rider, I didn't see the movies.
Right.
I'm glad I didn't. I'm glad I waited till this moment to really watch what the Ghost Rider.
I have seen the Nicolas Cage movie, and I'm glad they didn't go with the Nicolas Cage version. I'm glad we have this new version, even though I like that they didn't exactly. I originally thought this was going to be like an origin episode, and I'm glad they didn't do that, because he kind of hints, like when he talks to Quake and he says, "I see you've made a deal with the devil too," or
I see you got the devil inside you too.
Yeah, you have the devil inside you too. So it's not really explained what he means by that. So there's still room to learn, room for him to.
The only thing that, for someone who lightly researched his character, and lightly, again, people, we are not writers. We do not work for Marvel. We're not artists or anyway. We're pure fans.
Yeah.
So my light research into the Ghost Rider, since they cast this guy, I'm kind of curious to see, how they're going to do his particular Ghost Rider.
Right.
Because his Ghost Rider is not the Spirit of Vengeance. His Ghost Rider is the satanic spirit of his dead uncle.
Yeah, the devil is in him.
Yeah. But, he talked about vengeance and everything, so I'm kind of wondering if they're kind of mixing the Johnny Blaze version of his, or, they're just going to unravel it, and, maybe that'd be a twist.
Yeah.
Either way, I'm fantastic with it.
Yeah, and they did a great job, because we do get to see his head on fire.
Yes.
But they, and we knew it wasn't going to be like that for the entire episode. Yes. Budgeting and all that.
But they did a good job.
Yeah, I think they did it
in
the perfect amount of time.
And I hope that it doesn't get too cheesy with, because we know it's a TV show.
Right.
They do not have the budget for this kind of things. I mean, frankly, I saw in the pilot, I was like, whoa, this is pretty good stuff.
Yeah.
But I hope for later episodes, they can do the balance of, like, we don't need to see his flaming head, but, don't make it obvious that you can't do it.
Right. Because the way they introduce the flaming head is these bad guys are trying to blow up his car at first. So it does this flip and it's caught on fire. And so there's a ring of fire around the car, and comes out of the car with his head on fire.
Which is funny, because I love how, like, just in the Marvel universe, when you fight certain people and you see them do stuff, like, when you shoot the Hulk, you're not helping your cause.
Right.
So when the bad guys took a rocket launcher and shot the car, I was like, you realize he just instantly turned to Ghost Rider. Yeah. He was just probably going to kill you normally.
Right,
but now he's definitely going to kill you.
Yeah.
So it's just funny. I like to think of those things.
Yeah. And so that way, though, also when Daisy first sees him, she has no clue who he is.
Yes. And I like the way...
There's a fire and a guy on fire. It just, it doesn't necessarily equate to a superhuman.
Yeah, but the first, scene was so great because, it was purely like, under the neck shots of him. You saw the flaming car hit the car full of people. You saw the classic, killing of people, but you see just blood spurts.
Yeah. And I do like the kind of comic where the one bad guy is standing there and he yanks his leg to pull him back.
Yeah. And then, I think Quake was taken back by the explosion and everything. And I like the first shot is kind of like that hazy, like, did I just see...
Yeah, Quake doesn't really know what to do. What's going on?
Is this okay? That's new. But enough about Ghost Rider for now.
Yeah.
So, because other things happen. Because like we said in the episode before, this is not the Ghost Rider show.
Yeah, but that is what they open with, because that's what basically they've been promising us for the past few months. Yes. So they were like, okay, the producers said, okay, we got to get them in here. We got to show them that this is what we're going to be doing. And then, we got to remind them, this is S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yes.
So we do get to the Zephyr.
Because we get to the Zephyr and we see that Mac and Coulson are bored.
Yes, playing backgammon.
Apparently a lot.
So much so that they're betting on it.
Yes. And yeah, you're right. It's nice that we get to, we're like, we got Ghost Rider. Okay, you guys seen it.
Yeah.
You guys know the tone of what we're going. Now let's go to the characters that we actually, have developed.
Because really the Ghost Rider intro scene is even shorter than we made it sound.
Yes.
Right there.
I like the chemistry so far between Mac and Coulson.
Yeah.
Especially from the first time, we meet Mac in season 2.
Mm-hmm.
He was just that random guy standing there.
Random mechanic.
I was like, And I was wondering, I was like, why is this guy getting... I remember at the time I was thinking, why is this guy getting more billing than Trip? That Trip guy, that's who we need to... And then, oh, wow, Trip dies.
Yeah, that's why.
Yeah, so...
Yeah. But I like the dynamic that, Mac obviously still has almost that boss-employee respect for Coulson, even though they are both agents now. But he is more familiar with him. And that comes, of course, with, working with somebody for a while, both in real life and within the universe.
Yes.
There. And I like you said, I like that dynamic.
I'm curious to see how Coulson will kind of take his new job.
Right.
In that 6-month jump, it looked like he was handling it fine. But this episode kind of, But then again, I think he was handling it fine because he was given, real jobs.
Right.
So,
he was still kind of in control.
So between the time we seen him in last season and this past episode, so apparently Coulson is no longer allowed to chase Quake.
Right.
Because from the new director's perspective, he keeps letting her get away. So he's now banned from, anything Quake related.
Right.
Which is not great with him because, as we've seen throughout the show, he's almost considers, Quake
like a daughter.
Like a daughter.
Right.
So, and we're assuming that him and Mac now just do the bum jobs.
Right. Yes. Whatever's at the bottom of the file.
Yeah. So it was interesting to see a character like Coulson, for those who, followed him since the movies, who was the right-hand guy of Nick Fury. Right. And then becoming, the one who called the shots in the show.
Right.
To being, you're an errand boy now?
Right, yeah.
Not like the official errand boy, you're just an errand boy.
It's almost like he's an intern.
Exactly.
Yeah, so instead of just moving down a position, he's been actually demoted.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I want to see how they're going to explore that, how, he's going to handle that.
Yeah.
If that's all, he could be given some good stuff in later episodes, but that was the impression I got from this episode.
Oh yeah, no, I can definitely see that. Because he even emphasizes, the fact that he is not the director anymore. Yeah. And I don't think it's so much to let everybody know, not to call him that. I think it's kind of because he takes it so personally that he's not director anymore. It's that kind of self-reminder. It's like, no, I'm not in charge anymore, guys. Let's remember that. It's now this nameless director.
Yes. Who will have a name soon.
Who will have a name soon.
And who has promised he really does have a name since he was cast.
Yeah.
But he just cannot tell us.
Yes.
Which again is please let it be worth it.
But yeah, the Zephyr's been up in the air forever now, and it's finally being called back to HQ.
Yes. Which is summoned by May, who is now in charge of her own strike team.
Right.
The only thing, and again, I know it's because it's a TV show, it's money. Can they please cast tougher-looking people?
Yeah, it kind of looks like they, no offense to extras, but it kind of looks like they just pulled random people.
Now, the female agent has been recurring. She was in last season.
Right.
Like I said, I rewatched season 3, and that character was in the episode. I particularly remember her, if that's her only episode, the one where, High fought, summoned the Kree warriors back and killed them.
Right.
So she's in that. So it was nice to see a familiar face there. Because, I like familiar faces.
Right, yeah.
But the other one's if you guys are supposed to be the strike team to end things, either get more or get tougher looking ones.
Right, yeah. Because these were just very random people.
Nothing stood out to them.
Yeah, because it also, now if they would have done something to tell us, okay, this is their first class, this is the new recruits coming in, then I could have taken that. Yeah. But yeah, it almost...
Which maybe because they were getting a lesson.
Right, but there's nothing there that implied to me that they haven't already been given. Because she even said, when she asked, what the guy did wrong, she said, I'm not going to say anything. So it's we've been doing this for a while.
Unless they haven't actually done a mission.
Right.
That they could have just been training the whole time.
Yeah.
We don't know. But I like the job title for May now. But yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of titles going around.
But yeah, just can we get a tougher looking team?
Yeah.
Because if you're going to make me believe that, the director sends May's team to, solve some problems.
Yeah.
I need to...
Because May is tough looking.
Yes, May is tough looking.
Yeah.
And just so, just...
I mean, not everybody has to be like Hulk size.
Yeah, but maybe one.
One, yeah.
Maybe one of them.
Yeah.
So we see that's what she's done. She summoned Coulson and Mac because... there have been some deaths, as mentioned in the first scene.
Yeah.
And...
some deaths and some tiny little earthquakes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So... And actually, this is the first time they called her Quake.
Yeah.
So that was nice. It was written on newspaper headlines in the last scene of the ending of last season, but... they actually say Quake in this.
Right.
So, yay!
Took some vindication.
Yeah. So she's only telling this to Coulson on the DL because, as we stated, Coulson is no longer allowed to do anything Quake related.
Right. And also everything's classified now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which it felt weird going back to what you said with Coulson, getting completely demoted. The way he says it now, it kind of feels like a slap to the face.
Yeah.
Because, before he died in the Avengers, when he was, Fury's right-hand guy, when he says classified, it almost felt like, yeah, that's right. It's classified.
Yeah.
Now it's like,
oh, it's classified.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what she's doing. And we get to see Fitzsimmons again.
Right.
And, it's what, we talked about it last episode. Man, they're adults now.
They are. Yeah.
Like, Fitz is a man now.
Yeah. Yeah, and he actually comes to his own defense on things, because when they're talking about the, I forgot the universe name for it, but the virtual reality machine, he's talking about, well, the headset, that was mine. I created that.
Yeah.
So.
But, and, they're adults now. My God. Like, I watched the pilot recently, just for fun.
Yeah.
And, they were just these two, like, almost so mousy, nerdy little kids.
They were, like, just out of college sort of thing.
Exactly. It's almost like you were watching, like the bright-eyed people who get their first job.
Yeah.
And then now they're, like...
And now they're seasoned.
Now they're seasoned and somewhat jaded. And they're adults now.
Right.
Like, so that's... Oh, my... They've done a great job developing these characters.
Yeah, because Fitz is no longer, this... I mean, he's still... kind of chasing after Simmons, even though he technically has her.
He has her now.
But,
well, he still got that, kind of like that boyish charm to him.
Right.
But, it's not defining him now.
Right. Yeah, so like when he wants to go watch a football game, which for, Americans out there, soccer.
Yes.
And, Mac and Coulson can't go, and then with Simmons, he's like, okay, I know you've got it, your work to do. It's like he's not begging her to go like we would think Season 1 Simmons, I mean, Season 1 Fitz would be doing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Because he's a man now.
Yeah, he's like, I know you can't go, fine, I'm still going to go.
And, Simmons, goes from, like, the just sciencey girl is now, like, her new job title, she's in the inner circle of the director.
Yeah.
Who has to take daily lie detector tests.
Yeah, and like she tells May, she's been purposely seeking higher positions to get, closer.
That was a good scene, because we're at this point led to believe, there is really no team anymore.
Right.
Of the team, at least we've known for the past 3 years. And
there's no main six.
Yeah. And that kind of reassured, okay, you guys are still around, just, now that you're under different circumstances. Which, by the way, I dig the whole clearance level color stuff.
The spectrum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
And I love the way she was explaining it to May. Like, she's like, how am I orange or how am I red? But you're orange, you have higher power. Oh, because orange encompasses multiple colors.
Right, yeah.
And she was just like, that look on Ming-Na's face, she's like, okay,
And then she even talks down to May. She's like, it's too complicated to explain. Yeah. It's like, you're beneath this. Yeah. That was the whole thing. She said, he changed it to the color spectrum so that way nobody feels beneath anybody. And May is like, yeah, I feel beneath.
Yeah. Let's see. Basically, Fitzsimmons is still running, the lab.
Yeah.
And
they made Coulson a new hand.
Which
if you notice, to kind of go with the, self-deprecating version of Coulson now, he gives his fake hand a high five, but it's in retrospect, because I rewatched it. It's kind of a sad high five. It's like, before I would have been excited about this new hand, this new technology, but now it's just like, yeah, I'm the errand boy, and you gave me a new bag to hold newspapers in, sort of thing.
But I love, like, before that, they give Mac his new tool, one exploding pen.
Very James Bond.
and Old Coulson's like, exploding pen, and he's just like, what, you don't want one of these?
Yeah, because Mac is like the, if a fan was allowed to join S.H.I.E.L.D., Mac would be that guy. It's like, what would you ask, Fitzsimmons for? James Bond equipment. That's what.
I expect that exploding pen to come into play.
Oh, it better.
It better.
That better not
be along with the shotgun axe.
Yeah. Yeah, we need the shotgun axe, and
I hope they make Mac just that guy who has the eccentric stuff now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Whether he builds it or not.
Yeah.
I hope, because, we don't have cool-looking gadgets as much on the show, so I hope Mac is kind of that guy.
Yeah. Because most people, if you're on season 4, you're familiar with the show, but for people who, I don't know, decide to pick it up right now.
Because of Ghost Rider.
For Ghost Rider. Unlike the Marvel Cinematic Universe, where most of them are either Inhumans or gods or, they have some sort of powers.
Yeah.
Members of S.H.I.E.L.D. don't.
Yes.
Coulson has his hand because his hand got chopped off and now he has a
And I love that line of, when he uses his hands to x-ray, like a, truck.
The truck, yeah.
And Mac is just like, what? He's like, hey, what? You want one of these? Chop off your own hand next time.
So, they have to rely on, help and science and stuff like that. So that's, so I definitely agree with you about Mac. He should be the one who gets, like, the weird stuff, like the experimental things. Is like, let's put this and this together and see what happens.
And give it to Mac.
Yeah.
Let's see, what else did they cover in this show? Holden Radcliffe's character, which surprisingly, I thought John Hannah was going to still be recurring, but he has actually joined the cast.
Yeah.
Because I saw his name after Henry Simmons. I was like, wait a minute. I thought you were recurring. And I know Henry Simmons is, like, on the show.
Yeah, because when Fitz goes to say that that's who he's watching the football game with, I was kind of thinking, are they going to show us?
Well, I knew that he was, coming back.
Yeah.
But, I didn't know he was... Well, he'll be back a lot now.
But I didn't know if, like, for the first episode, if he'd be back by name alone. And maybe they'd show, like, some quick little thing. Yeah, but like you said, he is very in it. And for our listening audience, why is he in it?
Yes.
What has he been up to?
As he teased in the very last scene of last season, he has started to develop life model decoys.
Right.
And in this season, we meet one of them, who is his, like, almost like his own Jarvis.
Yeah.
So he visioned her.
Yeah.
So gave her a body and everything. But
and as Fitz says, she is definitely female. She's got the
and that's where and I love, like, callbacks to old things because one of my favorite things in season 1 was when Fitz would yell out, "What the hell?"
Yeah, very Scottish.
Very Scottish. Yeah. He hasn't done that in a while.
Yeah.
But when he saw Ada, who is the, life model, who is the AI of Holden Radcliffe, walk in completely naked.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh my God. And then, he sees...
Because he thinks it's a real female, like human female.
And then, Holden says, oh no, it's the thing I've been working on. What the hell? What the hell?
Yeah.
I was like, yes!
It's a very real feeling. It's almost like... even the actor wasn't expecting that.
But I love just little stuff like that. What the hell?
Yeah.
So the purpose, for those who's familiar with live model decoys in the comics, they are pretty much like bodyguards.
Right.
Duplicates. Like if Nick Fury has to be somewhere where they know he might get shot, they'll just life model.
Right.
And then if they shoot him, they're like, yeah, we got him. No, we didn't. We got one of those copies.
Yeah, and they're very humanoid. I mean, unless you really sit down and have a conversation with one, you won't know the difference.
Yes.
And most people who are trying to assassinate somebody aren't going to sit there and
they're trying to shoot them from a long ways away.
Yeah. Because even they even specified, this is not AI.
Yes.
Yeah.
I like that moment where she explained exactly what she's for.
Yeah, and I like the Ultron callback too.
Yeah.
Yeah. This isn't Ultron, but the way he said it, it was almost like he was also insulting the movie. He's like, "I saw Ultron. We're not doing that again."
But it made me sad, like when she was like, I know you've lost friends,
and starts going down the list.
Lincoln Campbell. Andrew Garner. But the one that made me tear up when she said Antoine Triplett, I was like, Trip!
Right. And Fitz like, no, you don't have to list everybody. Just, people can watch the past episodes. It's fine.
Exactly. So I thought that was a nice callback. And but therein lies the new plot. So
because he's not supposed to be working on things like this.
So if you saw last season, he is not really in good graces with the government,
right?
Because he partly almost caused the destruction of it, but by force,
right?
Which is why he's not in jail, because he argues that, hey, I was either say die or make this guy his concoction.
Yeah, he was under the control of Hive. It's I would have done the same thing he did.
Yeah, So, but nonetheless, he's still kind of a criminal,
right? Yeah.
So they said, okay, well, you're obviously won't be in jail, you won't be penalized, but don't do anything that. Don't do stuff.
Yeah, don't do any experiments without permission.
Yeah,
basically.
And obviously, this is not with permission.
Right.
And one thing that adds to the mystery of the director of the new organization S.H.I.E.L.D. is just the level of closeness they have, because that's who he should be reporting to if he's going to do stuff. And Fitz does not want even Simmons to know.
Right. Because Simmons has to do the lie detector test every day.
Yes, and it's kind of interesting that they don't want to go. They're kind of afraid what the organization will do with something like this.
Right. So
he agrees to help Holden to perfect it. So when they give it to they have to give it to S.H.I.E.L.D. It's like, okay, you can't make these tweaks because this is exactly what it should be.
Right. Yeah, because Fitz says, it can be used as a weapon. And she does it. And I love the I'm not sure the actress's name.
Mallory Jansen.
Yeah. I know who she is, but I can never remember her real name.
It's okay.
Because I love Gallivant.
Yes.
And, they use her, and she's very dainty and very unassuming. And so if somebody looks at her and says, this can be used as a weapon, you almost laugh.
Yeah.
Because it's like, no, that can't be used as a weapon. But Fitz, of course, is referring to the technology can be used as a weapon there.
So, but it just kind of intrigued me. It's like, wow, man, you guys don't really trust who is really at the top.
Right.
Okay, so yes. Yeah. All that aside, we got through the characters. Now, again, the main event.
Yes, we're back to Quake.
Quake and Ghost Rider.
Ghost Rider, yeah. Because Quake is having to do everything by herself.
Yes.
Now, she doesn't have a team. She doesn't have S.H.I.E.L.D. helping her out or anything like that.
There was a good callback to, when she first got her powers, how her hands started, bruising a lot. Apparently that's happening again with her.
Yeah, she's overusing her powers.
And she...
before we get to that, though, there's another reoccurring, another comeback character.
Yes, Yo-Yo.
Yes.
I like...
You mentioned last episode you wanted to see her
I do, back. And it was nice, and I like that she's an established character now, because not once did she use her powers.
Right.
Because she didn't need to. You're like, Yo-Yo!
Yeah, I mean, you know who she is.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she does allude to her powers, kind of reminding the audience what she can do.
Yeah, but of course, it's nice that you don't have to do it. Because
I love that she doesn't hate Mac anymore, obviously. Yes. Very obvious.
She really won't. Oh, please, I hope those two get together.
I mean, she said, ask me to dinner.
Yeah, I hope they get together.
Yeah, there's no subtlety. There's no subtext there.
But the other reason we learned why she is there is so she can get some pills for Quake.
Yeah. Yeah, so she is not really a double agent because Quake's not a quote-unquote bad guy.
Yeah.
The director might just see her as such. So she can't just walk into the S.H.I.E.L.D. pharmacy and be like, all right, I'm having...
Or even regular pharmacy. Or even they're going to be like, I need some bone healing. They're like, what?
Yeah.
You mean ibuprofen?
Yeah. Here, take 2 of leave and call me in the morning. Exactly. Oh, it's a little bit more serious than that.
Take 4.
Yeah. But yeah, JoJo's the one that tells her, you're overusing your power. You're going to physically hurt yourself.
Yeah. But, that's not stopping her.
No.
And, she manages to track down, because she tracks the Ghost Rider down by the car.
Right.
Because she can't go around saying, hey, do you know, guy? Even though there are people who will know what she's talking about, which is funny enough. But, she doesn't go around saying, hey, you know this guy with the flaming head? I need to find him. But I did like how...
Because she's slowly piecing the parts together, too. Yes. Like when we mentioned when she first sees him, it's not like you're just seeing a guy with a flaming head and no other fire around. There's a fire around and a guy who looks like he's on fire, so it makes sense.
Yeah.
When she sees
an explosion happened, people are dead.
Yeah.
A lot happened.
Yeah, when she sees the car, she, it's a very distinct car.
She knows at least, okay, that might be a guy with a flaming head, but I know that is a nice car.
Right, yeah. Because she hadn't seen the graffiti yet for, the actual, she doesn't know the name.
Neither had we.
Yeah, and she doesn't know the name Ghost Rider yet. So, yeah,
that apparently they all do.
Yeah.
And I like how she's like, how do I find him? You don't want to find him.
Yeah, because she goes to the hospital and finds one of the guys that he almost killed.
Which I guess he did, really.
Yeah.
Because he dies.
Yeah, because he's like,
pretty much everybody, spoiler, everybody in that truck is dead.
Well, like we mentioned last episode, all of these episodes will be a spoiler from now on.
Yeah.
But yeah, this guy...
Spoiler if you haven't already guessed.
Yeah, this guy from the hospital, he goes, you don't want to find... does he call him the writer?
The writer.
The writer at that point, yeah, because he says, no, there's no hope for me. I'm not good because he kills your soul. Yeah.
When they say when the writer burns you, he burns your soul.
And there's no coming back from that.
Exactly.
Yeah. It gave me kind of a Hellraiser type feel to it.
Well, I mean, he is.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, that kind of sets a precedence for this, that you're not messing with some normal,
The other thing, going, that I thought was kind of cool and shocked me was, they build it up as that everybody will meet Ghost Rider in this episode.
Yeah.
They did not. Right. They are not even close to even comprehending what they're about to see.
Yeah, S.H.I.E.L.D. knows nothing about it. Coulson knows,
Yeah. The only person that has encountered him is Daisy.
Yeah. And even she's still kind of,
My favorite moment in the episode is when they finally, fully meet each other and, of course, fight.
Right.
So she goes to the junkyard where Robbie works. And, he's just plain old Robbie.
Yeah.
And,
I do love when they do, like, the eye glowing thing. So it's like, we're not going to do the whole flame head every time, but we're going to remind you who this guy is.
I like, see he's a nice guy. And she kind of figures out because he does that thing with his key.
Yeah.
And, she quakes him, and then they battle a little bit. And, she manages to, gain an upper hand because she was an agent. So she could fight a little better than him.
I mean, she's been trained by May.
Yes.
Yeah.
So she could fight better than him. Until he turns to Ghost Rider.
Right.
And I love the moment when, you see the transformation. And again, we love that it's not like the Nick Cage movie. It wasn't an exaggerated,
Right.
Like, it just happens.
It's something you can turn on and off.
Yes. Yeah. Does it look uncomfortable? Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
His skin is melting off.
Yeah.
But, again, we don't get the,
Yeah. I love that because when scenes like that happen, like in the Ghost Rider movie, it's like whoever you're battling against has time to get you during that.
Yes.
With the TV version, she doesn't. It's just.
And I love the moment when he arises, full Ghost Rider, and that look on Chloe Bennett's face of like, oh my god, that's not normal, and I'm pretty sure I'm in trouble right now.
Yeah, I was not. May did not train me for this specifically here. Come at me with a gun, a knife, something.
Yeah. Even so. Like, he took, like, the bumper of a car and used Hellfire, and she manages to, quake it away. But, he punches her in the gut, and I don't think she expected it to hurt that much.
Yeah.
That doesn't help her hands.
No. Yeah. So.
But yeah, totally worth it. And I want to talk about Gabriel Luna. I enjoy the way he's been doing the character so far.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, we only got one episode, but, when they cast people, they cast really well.
They do, yeah.
Even if you don't see them a lot, a la Lucy Lawless. But, when they're there...
When they're there, they're there.
They make it count. And this guy, I previously saw him in the second season of True Detective.
Okay.
Not very memorable, but that season wasn't particularly memorable.
I've not seen it at all.
I had to really, read... When they said he was in that show, I was like, okay. I had to read, oh, okay, you were that guy. All right, I kind of remember you.
Yeah.
But then again, I kind of remember that second season, So, no offense to you.
But that's why we're not a True Detective podcast.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I could be a season 1 True Detective podcast, but not the second one.
Okay.
But yeah, I saw him in that.
Mm-hmm.
So, because I like familiar faces.
Right.
So when they cast people, I like saying, oh, yeah, I saw you in that.
Right, yeah.
So that was my thing. I was like, oh, yeah, I vaguely remember you in that show, but I've seen you.
Mm-hmm.
I like the, like I said, I hope like the Keys thing was his thought.
Right.
I liked even, when he wasn't Ghost Rider. And I think that's what's really, going to sell the character is when he's not Ghost Rider.
Right.
Because A, you need to be written well, you need to be performed well, and B, again, money.
Yeah. But what I really love about the casting, just in general, is these people...
He seems like an everyman.
Yeah. But he also he is that character. Like, if I saw him in something else tomorrow... I'm not going to see him as Ghost Rider in the other show. Mm-hmm. Whoever does the casting for S.H.I.E.L.D. picks people that you can believe. You can believe Clark Gregg as Coulson. And when you go back and watch the New Adventures of Old Christine, you don't see Coulson in that. No, you see Clark Gregg in that. Chloe Bennett is Quake, but if you saw...
She doesn't have a lot of other work, but I hope,
But if you did see her in something else, you wouldn't be like... I mean, you would recognize her, but you wouldn't be like, that is Quake playing that part.
Nah has such a large library of stuff.
Yeah, and she's different in, like, everything.
Yeah. But when they do cast, like, with Bill Paxton, you don't watch Aliens going, aha, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah.
It's Bill Paxton.
Yeah. The exception that proves the rule is... Patton Oswalt.
Yeah.
Because he was Patton Oswalt in S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah.
I mean, but I love that. I love him.
I think it's going to be
himself.
tougher to see, like, maybe the newer kids, like Chloe Bennett and, Ian DeCastaker and Elizabeth Henstridge in different roles because, unlike someone like a Clark Gregg or McNaugh, they had long careers before the show.
Yeah.
It was their first jobs. Mm-hmm. So I hope, that they're going to pick material and they themselves are good enough to, when they do take another job, you're not saying, oh my God!
Yeah.
Same thing with Brett Dalton.
I was about to ask, your boyfriend Brett Dalton there. So if he did get the part in, is it Far Cry, the video game they're trying to make into a movie?
I don't know.
It's one of them that I haven't played.
I don't play a lot of games.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're not a gaming podcast.
Right, yeah. But it's one of those video games where everybody wants to play the main character. Do you think you could see him...
Yeah.
And you wouldn't just be like, that's Ward playing that?
We gotta make it happen. Yeah. First, he needs to get the job.
That's true, yeah. Because that's been my problem with... and I know we're kind of taking a rabbit trail off here, but we've kind of wrapped up the show.
It's still about S.H.I.E.L.D.
It's still about S.H.I.E.L.D., but I'm about to bring up Benedict Cumberbatch.
Okay.
But
it's still about Marvel.
It's still Marvel. But that's been kind of my problem with him, is like when I saw Trek Into Darkness, I saw Sherlock as Khan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I almost expect to see Doctor Strange Sherlock.
Okay.
It is kind of hard for me to separate him from the Sherlock character.
I think I had a leg up on that because I think the first thing I ever saw him in was Star Trek Into Darkness.
Okay.
So anything from there is just like, oh, I don't see Khan. I just see... I will say I see Benedict Cumberbatch.
Right.
As so-and-so.
Yeah. Now, Sherlock as Doctor Strange, I could see. I can see that still working. I'm not going to say it.
Yes.
Because I'm really... Of all the new Marvel stuff coming out, I've been looking forward to that one.
Oh, yeah.
Probably the most.
And so has the show. Because last little bit.
Yes. So come back around to
last little bit because we know Doctor Strange introduces the world of magic and mysticism.
Yeah.
And supernatural.
Because before that, it's been all about science,
and gods.
But even like the Asgard stuff, the original Thor comics were very magical, and it's become more like Asgard is more technologically advanced than us in the modern comics and movies. Yeah. So even then it relies
They're just better than us.
It relies on science more than magic. But yeah, we're definitely bringing the magic into it.
So S.H.I.E.L.D., is kind of kickstarting that with the introduction of Ghost Rider. Mm-hmm. And to note that the first episode is called The Ghost. Mm-hmm. So if you knew Ghost Rider was coming, you saw the first episode's name, you're like, oh, well, obviously, There is a twist on that.
There is.
Because what the Ghost Rider was chasing from these gangsters, and in turn, somewhat Quake was also chasing.
Yeah.
And
S.H.I.E.L.D. box.
Yes, and S.H.I.E.L.D. ends up kind of intercepting is this box that these Asian gangsters want. And what's in the box?
Yeah, and from the audience point of view, I mean, it could be... I thought it was just weapons.
Yes.
Just like, powerful weapons. But I thought it was just like, some new technology that they were going after.
We still don't really know what's in the box. We know what came out of the box.
Yes.
And it was a ghost.
Yes. Which at first I thought they were going back to the whole terraforming thing because it almost looks like a powder coming out.
No, it was a ghost.
It was a ghost.
And again, first episode, you're not spoon-fed everything. Because that's what the rest of the 21 episodes are for.
Yeah.
We have no idea what this is.
Yeah.
We just know it's a ghost.
And that it affects your mind.
It affects your mind. It makes people violent and kill each other.
Yep, because it makes you hallucinate.
Yes.
Yeah.
We should be worried because it affected one of our teams.
Yep.
And it has affected Melinda May.
Yep.
What it will do the rest, we don't know.
And she's not being honest about it.
She's not.
She's not, because they're like, well, what's wrong? Oh, nothing. It's just, overworked, whatever. It's like, no.
While playing backgammon.
Yeah, while playing backgammon, the world's most dangerous board game.
So yeah, I like that it was called The Ghost, and naturally of course, Ghost Rider.
Yeah. No, actual ghost.
Actual ghost.
Yeah, and I almost wonder if May wasn't honest about it because it's like, now that she hasn't really been demoted, but now that she's like below Simmons, it's like, so if you guys up top are going to keep secrets, well, I'm going to keep this a secret.
I don't know. It's a lot of bad things have happened to every character so far, but we haven't really gotten that much with May, really until last season with the whole Andrew thing.
Yeah,
it was established in the show that bad things have happened to her.
Yeah,
but she is,
which is why you don't call her the Cavalry.
Yeah, she has neither been kidnapped nor been through Terragenesis nor other things. So maybe this is kind of like that thing.
Because even when she got injured last season, it was for like a couple episodes, and then she was back up. This one,
the real only thing you can count is when she had to, let Andrew go.
Yeah.
In a variety of ways.
Yeah.
So this could be kind of that thing. It's like, oh no, May is affected because we can't affect Simmons. We put her on an alien planet. We can't affect Fitz. We gave him brain damage. We can't affect Daisy.
Chopped off Coulson's hand.
We Quake nearly killed Mac, and Quake went through an alien Terragenesis. So. And it's your turn. It's your turn.
Because of how this ghost affects people, we can't let that happen to Mac because Mac is big enough he could tear your arms off.
Because in season 2 he was possessed by an alien force.
Yeah, so even though May can hurt you, she has more self-control.
Yeah.
So she can get in that Zen state and not kill you, even though she does see whatever happened.
We shall see.
When it makes you hallucinate, it kind of makes the person you're looking at look demonic.
Yes.
Almost. Yeah.
So we shall see.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Any speculations about episode 2?
This episode did a good job with curbing what I wanted to see.
Yeah.
And
I did kind of predict about Quake being the bad guy.
Do what?
I did last episode. I mentioned about Quake being seen as the bad guy. Yeah. That kind of has come to.
But I like that she's seen as a bad guy to say the director. Right. But to us, she's still
because we know her intentions.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I'm glad that they they did it for the other force in the show, but to us, we know exactly who she is.
Yeah,
and that's good.
So we can still stand with her.
Exactly. Yeah, I like that it curved what I wanted to see, and obviously I have questions, but I'm not dying.
Yeah.
I'm like, ooh, I want to enjoy this ride.
Yeah. Now my biggest prediction for the next episode is I don't think we will see any of Ghost Rider.
He is in it, though.
We might see Robbie.
Yes.
But I don't think we'll see any of Ghost Rider in episode 2. I think we saw the perfect amount in episode 1.
Yes.
They did not overplay it. They didn't underplay it.
I think we'll see it because the synopsis does have her going against the Ghost Rider. But again, I think it'll be the end. Because, we already know what he is.
Yeah.
So
it's not going to be a Ghost Rider story.
Yes. Because we already know what he is, what he can be. So when she throws down with him, that's when he becomes the Ghost Rider again. Yeah. But I don't think they need any more like frivolous shots being the Ghost Rider.
Doesn't just need random, flaming skull.
Exactly. Yeah. Flaming car, sure.
Flaming car, yeah.
And killing people, sure. But,
but flaming car is easier to do than flaming skull as far as graphics go.
Because you can actually have a car on fire. Yeah. And be safe.
Yeah, that is. If I had to nitpick about one thing, you could tell during the explosion scene what the CG fire was and what the real fire was. But I mean, that's like if I had to pick one bad thing about the episode, that would be it. And that kind of tells you what I thought about the rest of the episode. Yeah. If I had to go that deep.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, we're going to find out who the director is.
Yes.
I hope they do it at the beginning. It doesn't have to be like the intro of the episode, but I wanted to do it in the first 20 minutes. Yeah. Don't let that be the thing at the end of the episode. Like he walks.
Again, the episode's called Meet the New Boss, so I got a feeling that you won't be disappointed. Yeah. And the timing of when you meet the new boss.
Yeah. And he better not do the walk out of the shadow thing like Coulson did in the first season, because that is Coulson's thing.
I don't know. He's demoted, so who does he have a thing anymore?
Yeah, but I love I love Coulson's dry sense of humor. Yeah, which he used in this episode also. Yeah.
Let's see. Any other thing? That was pretty much the episode. Yeah. A fantastic episode.
Yeah.
I did make a comment to someone else that I hope two things. Mm-hmm. I like how every premiere of each season has given such a good punch.
Right.
It established a lot of things. Mm-hmm. Between setting up Coulson's new team, and second season, you met the Absorbing Man. They shockingly killed Lucy Lawless.
Yeah,
because I remember reading, oh my god, Lucy Lawless in season 2.
Yeah,
yes. Oh my god,
because I thought she was going to be in season 2, in the whole thing.
And I just remember going, oh, you didn't. Oh my god, you really killed her. Yeah, you killed Xena.
Yeah,
and
we had to have flashbacks to get her again.
One flashback, really. And then season 3 set up this notion of Secret Warriors. We met Joey. We saw Quake really use her powers in her new suit. And now with Ghost Rider, each premiere has been wow.
Yeah, but this has been the first premiere where, like we said last episode, if you're watching the first episode of season 4, you're already a fan. They're not trying to get new fans.
That's true.
And they proved it with this episode, because I can only imagine.
You can be a new fan and just simply watch the Ghost Rider scenes, but you got.
But as a whole episode,
you got to be in this.
It would have, if this was your first episode ever, you're not going to keep watching.
Yes.
Because there was nothing to keep you there beyond the Ghost Rider stuff. Which is not saying anything against the episode.
Which hopefully maybe it's wow, maybe I should watch this show.
So if you're listening to this and this is the first episode you've ever watched,
we just spoiled everything.
Yeah, but Netflix has seasons 1 through 3. You're listening to this Tuesday morning, so between now and tonight, watch all of season 1 through 3 somehow, and you catch up.
But and my second point, we were talking about expectations and hopes. I missed out one, but I hope they managed to finish Agent Carter's story somehow. Yeah. And
there's still definitely room for that.
And I thought of it, yesterday too, as just because Bobby and Hunter's pilot didn't work out, you guys still paid for that film. You could, with careful editing and some reshoots, you can totally make that a 2-episode arc.
Yeah.
And bring them back for set amount of episodes, and then they can quietly go away again.
Because there could be past stuff that the new director's looking into.
Yeah.
And it kind of, brings up Carter. It brings up, Marvel's Most Wanted.
Yeah. Or, in basic, because they never aired it because it's not a real thing. Yeah. But, it basically, Hunter and Bobby, were going to be spies for this independent, wealthy guy. Mm-hmm. For what reason, that was what the show is going to explore, but there is no show to explore. But they can still do something like that. Yeah, and I think they were going to look for something, and they could totally re-edit the pilot and then make it towards this season.
Yeah,
for that guess, because I was thinking you already paid for it, so
yeah. I mean, it technically exists. We don't have access to it, but
we can have some form of access. You know, and you can just chop it up. If they're thinking, man, we need some extra B plot. Let's look at that.
Yeah. Oh, did you like the? I know this is like way towards the front of the episode, but did you like the little callback to Civil War when Mac and?
Oh yeah. We're talking about the Accords?
Yeah.
Oh, of course. I think that's going to be said a lot now.
Yeah, but I love those little callbacks where if you haven't seen the movie, it doesn't ruin anything for you.
That's true, yeah.
Yeah, if you have it, it's like, oh, I know exactly what they're talking about.
I think the only time, like, the only movie you could really get ruined if you haven't seen it through the show is The Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
But every other movie...
Because it's hard not to ruin that and still have a good plot going through.
Yeah, I remember that's something that's bugged certain fans. Is that when they do, ever since The Winter Soldier, no movie tie has been like, that effective to, the show. And yeah, I agree to a certain point, but, I think past season 2 is like, you know what? They're doing their own thing.
Yeah. And so they can say things like, I know about Ultron. And
or I did
that doesn't give away, Avengers 2. You can still go see that and find out what he's talking about.
I think people, I guess... people, and it's people who don't really watch the show or like the show that, gets upset and disappointed that,
if you don't like the show, don't watch it.
Exactly. It's like, oh no, Iron Man didn't come on the show. Well,
Robert Downey Jr. is expensive.
I would love it.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, but that's not happening.
Yeah.
And, by season 4, I know that.
Yeah.
Like, I 100% know that. Now, if it happens, my God.
Yeah.
That's going to be fantastic, but I know it's not going to happen.
Right.
I know, they're not going to be in the movies, as we know, and the movie people are not really going to be in the show, as we know of. And that's fine.
The universes are connected, but it's like, somebody who lives in the U.S. isn't going to be in France at the same time. Yeah. And that's kind of how you have to think about it.
Exactly.
They exist on the same
And I think
plane.
they drew, they unfortunately drew the short end of the stick because they are the first to do this kind of thing. Whereas, nobody ever complains that the Netflix Marvel does anything of the movies.
Right, yeah.
Fan bases are usually okay with that they do their own thing.
Yeah, because people see, Daredevil and Jessica Jones as its own thing, way out there.
But if you watch the shows, obviously there's some good callbacks to the movies. So, I think Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., unfortunately draws that, criticism.
I think because it's more accessible to people. It's on ABC. Everybody has ABC. Even if you don't have cable,
And they did bill it as if you like the Avengers,
right,
you'll love this show.
Because they had to sell you on it when it first started.
Of course. Well, they sold me anyway. But, but I understand why they...
It starts with the word Marvel. That's
why they do these things. I understand. But, I sometimes, I hate hearing the naysayers. And, I personally, it's like, we're not. But if we do, by God.
Yeah. Yeah. Even if you get Chris Pratt in there, it's...
Well, first of all, it's like, I would love it, but how did you... aren't you supposed to be it's like what you said. It's like, you're not in France. You're in... other...
Yeah. You're literally on another planet.
Yeah. So, that is our thought on episode 1, The Ghost.
And you'll come back next week to hear our thoughts on episode 2.
Yes.
So, until then.